Hi there. Thank you for tuning in to Grow Your Gifts. I have been MIA for a hot minute. Yeah, apologize. One day turned into 2 days, turned into 3 days, and it all started with Sunday Fun Day. And let's face it, every day is Sunday Fun Day for me. So, no. In all seriousness, I didn't mean to just drop out like that. Um, It usually happens when some major transition is coming my way, and I don't even know what it is or what it might be. But um, I have noticed a pattern, and that tends to be the pattern. So, all right, big transition coming my way. I can sense it. Fun times. So let's get back into it. I left off with theorists like Piaget and Vygotsky, and we're going to go into Maslow today. And for Piaget and Vygotsky, just to summarize, basically, they considered play to be an important part of childhood as a path to learning, as a path to the learning process. So yeah, I have all my screenshots, which I have taken with the lens of my more than 20 years of experience in early childcare and working with families and parents and children of all ages. So this is just to help summarize and go through the material in a very um, laser focused way. And then whatever comes to mind from my experiences comes to mind. So let's get to it. So Maslow, and I'm just reading off of the internet here, he argued that lower level needs must be largely satisfied before higher needs can be addressed. And this theory has profound implications for understanding motivation in educational settings. Maslow's work emphasizes the importance of creating environments that support holistic development. So, exploring a pedagogy, introducing Abraham Maslow, and this is from a great website, theeducationpeople.org. Many of us are familiar with Maslow, but how influential? Dot dot dot. Let's see. So, Abraham Harold Maslow was born in 1908. So, again, from a very long time ago in Brooklyn, New York. He had a difficult childhood, experiencing poverty, racism, ethnic prejudice, and a difficult relationship with his mother, who it is said he grew to despise. Maslow spent a lot of his childhood in libraries where he developed a love for reading and learning. He went to university, and he passed on from a heart attack in 1970. Maslow did not do active service in the Second World War. The impact of this on individuals did inspire him to explore the importance of self-actualization. This, along with the support of colleagues, formed the basis of Maslow's research. So, in a nutshell, he depicted as a pyramid a five-tier model that identifies human needs. The model can be divided into basic needs, the psychological needs, and self-fulfillment or growth needs. So basic needs, psychological needs, self-fulfillment, or growth needs. I feel like I ping pong all around. It never goes in a straight pyramid for me. That's just from my own personal experience. Whatever I need to strengthen, but generally, yeah, survival, basic needs, hunger, food, shelter is paramount for anyone I have found. So instead of focusing on the negative aspects of human growth, Maslow focused on the positive, seeking to identify how we reach our full potential. Oh, I love that. So psychological needs at the bottom of his pyramid is like air, food, water, warmth, rest. Safety needs, yeah, warmth. I could use like a nice campfire right here. Well, I got a chance to try my new splash pants out. The old ones from Value Village thrift store lasted me a really long time. And they were awesome. Men's splash pants, so durable, so waterproof. So amazing. But it was time to retire them and get a new pair, and I get to test them out, make sure my splash pants work. Anyway, uh, so sad. The winter here, it's not like how it used to be in the 1990s, and it was just like buckets and buckets of snow, and I loved it. And, I'm getting excited because it's the first real snow, but not getting too excited because the forecast, I mean, it's not written in stone, but says more sun and more rain and a mix of this and mixed precipitation. And I mean, it's great for driving, but I actually prefer driving in the snow because everybody slows down. They're forced to just be aware of their surroundings and not be so like rush, rush, rush. It's like island driving for me. I love it. I love island driving. I'm definitely an island time guy. I like to be efficient with my time too, but oh, I miss the huge amounts of snowfalls we used to get in the 90s. I mean, I didn't start driving till like 98, but even then, I remember that driving in the snow is so. As long as you have the right tires and safe and everything's been plowed and salted, or now they use like a sand mixture, you stay on the main roads. It's so peaceful. I love it. You just got to give yourself more time to get from one place to another. So, yeah, I was talking about warmth at the very bottom of the pyramid. So I don't know if I can show you. Maybe let's see. That's just generally. There's so many different pyramids now for Maslow's. This is the one that I'm using right now. So psychological needs: air, food, water, warmth, and rest. Safety needs. The next one up is security and safety, health, employment, property, for example. The next one up is belonging and love, friendship, family, intimacy. Um, so this also coincides with what currently the government of Ontario has implemented with the four foundations of learning, which are belonging, well-being, engagement, and exploration. And I love those. I think those are amazing and great. And you can see my other video about where to find those resources in early child care, but I think it applies, it's actually helped me in my adult life as well, in my own self help healing journey as well, adventure. So, belonging and love is this third one up from the bottom, which is like friendship, family, intimacy. And the next one up is esteem needs. So, self esteem, confidence, respect. I mean, I would put respect way down at the bottom. Like, that is the basis for everything for me. Deep respect for nature, deep respect for yourself, deep respect for others, for your environment, for your interactions, for like everything, like what you put in your system, food wise and hydration wise. Like, it's never ending. And it's awesome. And I don't know, respect, I think, is like the cornerstone. If you don't have that, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. But that's okay. That's your journey as well. And we all are here for different reasons and have to learn somehow, some way, or don't learn. Whatever. Just be yourself and enjoy whatever you need to enjoy, right? So the top of the tippy top of the pyramid is self-actualization, fulfilling one's potential. If you want, if that's something you choose. Because, those things have been thrown around so much. It's like, just, that's why I say do what you're called to do. Uh, Nobody knows everything. Can't possibly. So maybe whatever you're being led to might not look like self actualization to some people, but it's what you're being called to. So that's why respect really comes into play. Do do do. Maslow stated that people are motivated to achieve certain needs. And da 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 da. So he also, this is a quote from Maslow. It is quite true that man lives by bread alone. When there is no bread, But what happens to a man's desires when there is plenty of bread and when his belly is chronically filled? Hmm. Um, and I don't know people like in the situation, but I've looked into it a lot. Like I don't know, I watched the Paris Hilton documentary. I don't know how much of that is scripted or not, but it was very impactful for me and just something that rung true from my own observations of people who have it all, or seem to have it all or have a lot of money or it's never enough. I need more purses. I need more shoes. It's never enough. There's always something that needs to be filled. And she, very bravely and courageously linked it to trauma that she experienced as well. So um, I think that's very telling. They have these sort of condescending phrase of like trust fund kids. I mean, they have real problems too, right? Every day is a struggle for all of us, no matter what. But it's a different kind of struggle. And trust fund kid, just means like they just live off their parents' trust fund or whatever, so they don't have to worry about money. But then and they show it in so many sitcoms and TV shows and movies and stuff that, well, what are they really learning about real life experience and all these other things that they could possibly be missing out on because things are just handed to them. Um, it's the classic case of like the grass is always greener on the other side, right? So I love that about this quote, that it is quite true that man lives by bread alone when there is no bread. But what happens to a man's desires when there's plenty of bread and when his belly is chronically filled? There needs to be a balance. That's what I'm understanding from that quote. You go too far in one direction or the other, and you see what that's like. Basically, a lot of us need to learn through experience, right? Also, he said at once other and higher needs emerge, and these, rather than psychological hungers, dominate the organism. And when these in turn are satisfied, again new and still higher needs emerge, and so on. This is what we mean by saying that the basic human needs are organized into a hierarchy of relative prepotency. Okay, so for him, it's like, once your belly's full and you're fed, and once your safety needs are met, and once you feel belonging and love, and once you feel esteem, like self confidence and self respect, then you're actually able to say, well, what else am I hungering for? And you see that a lot in the spiritual community, that feeling that there's a hunger, there's a thirst to, for truth. Truth is out there, and well, it's actually all in here, right? Uh, as far as I know. And in here, out there, it's like a back and forth dance. But you want to keep, uh, just talk about myself, I want to keep bringing it back home to what's within. So it's self actualization. So, yeah, I mean, I see what he's saying and where he's going with that, but again, my own personal journey has been like, you know, it doesn't follow the pyramid, basically, for whatever reason. So, model for living. This is from communityplaythings.co.uk website, and they talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs in children's development, exploring eating, sleeping, playing, and learning as key elements. Another great website. So, parents and educators have always known eating, sleeping, learning, and playing are key of every child's development. Yeah, I've seen this firsthand in the childcare center. If a child's not eating properly, or they're not like eating enough, or for whatever reason, or they're not sleeping, they missed their nap time for some reason, or they were up all night and they missed their nap time. They're like, they're not even walking steady. They're like, oh no, here comes a drunk uncle. There's always a drunk uncle at a wedding or a party. You're like, why is he stepping on my toes? So that was our little joke that, oh no, this child definitely needs a nap or something. Like, They just need, they're losing their balance. So we've all seen that, especially in small children, that if their eating routine is off, you better be ready for some emotional outburst or something. Big tears, big anger, big emotions or something. And they're sleeping, can affect their coordination and balance and alertness. Or sometimes they seem like they're high as a kite and they're just like wired and they'll never sleep again. So you see that firsthand, with your own children or grandchildren or nieces or nephews, or whoever you work with children. So yeah, it can really it's affect their learning and playing and their development. So this introduction provides you with an overview. Da, 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 da. So this is a quote by Janusz Korczak. Children are not the people of tomorrow, but people today. There's a song, I believe children are the future. It's like, yeah, that's true and everything. Sorry, my nose is dripping. But yeah, I really resonate with this quote. So children are not the people of tomorrow, but people today. They are entitled to be taken seriously. They have a right to be treated by adults with tenderness and respect as equals. So yeah, I wouldn't say, oh, it's like as equals, like they're adults too. No, they are children, and it is our job to keep them safe, and it is our job to protect them. But as equals means like there's no reason to talk down to them or to treat them like less than, or think that they deserve less respect than you do. Uh, you know, Obviously, I get very worked up about this. Like, I've seen it over and over, and it's so subtle sometimes. It's not like you're like, oh my gosh, you could point it out to someone. No, it's so insidious and it's so subtle, and it's just been passed down from generation to generation, in this very deeply unconscious way. um, I think that's what drew me to early child care in the first place, that I would never treat a child like that. Like, I just could never, and I understand why people do. I'm not judging them. you know we're all doing the best with what we know, and if we knew better, we would do better. And I think the only reason I'm good at that in this area is because I remember so clearly what it was like to be that age. Like, I don't have memories from when I was very little, but um, as soon as 6, 7, 8 kind of thing, that I remember very clearly how I wanted to be spoken to, and I knew even at that age that this is right and this is not right, and how I'm being spoken to or how this is being approached. I just didn't have the words or the language or the understanding how to communicate any of my needs or any of that at the time. So it impacted me in a huge way, I think. And because it impacted me in such a way, I'm very passionate about this. You know, they have the right to be treated by adults with tenderness and respect as equals. Amazing quote. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the living model. Our living model focuses on the first 4 layers of Maslow's pyramid and follows his belief that the most basic levels of human need must be met before a child is fully able to be engaged, motivated, regulated, and ready to learn. So you can look into, self-regulation, emotional self-regulation. There's so much tools and techniques. If you just, look into that a little bit more and type in, the age group for your child, like toddler, preschool, infant even. And there's things you can do and start to embed that as part of their routine so that they can gain self-mastery even at that age of emotional self-regulation or of self-regulation skills. That was huge huge light bulb, huge lightning thought for me, workshop after workshop on this. Of course, again, for my own personal development, but when I put it into practice with children in the early childcare setting, even with teenagers, like, it's never too late to try and apply the juice, the really good stuff. So that's why anything that pops out to me, I'm going to zoom in more and let you know my experience with it. So, yeah, the living model focuses on the first four layers. So, our intention is to view this through the lens of eat, sleep, play, learn. Our greatest human needs is restful sleep. Sleep plays an important role in our physical and emotional health throughout life. Establishing healthy sleep patterns in the earliest years can have enormous long term benefits. Healthy sleep routines for both adults and children have been linked with improved memory, heightened levels of creativity, increased physical stamina, increased cognitive capacity, sharpened attention, healthy weight, heightened immunity, reduced levels of anxiety and stress, fewer accidents. Like, this is all connected. It's so amazing. When you, even for yourself as an adult, say, this is my sleep routine, my winding down time. This is what other professionals have helped me with is, my daily routine, and they're like, Emma, I don't care what you pick. If you want to stay up all night and do the night shift or whatever works for your work schedule, your routine, your personal life, just make it the same bedtime and the same wake up time every single day. Your whole life will change. And they were right. So, yeah, they helped me so much, these amazing professionals. And, having a sleep schedule for yourself as an individual and for your children really impacts everything. It's amazing. I mean, sometimes you want to, if you're an early riser, you want to party late at night, and I think that's important too, to have some spontaneity and flexibility, and your body will adjust here and there. But to keep changing that routine over and over, like, I mean, try it, see what happens. I tried it, and it did not go well for me. I definitely noticed the difference with all those things that they listed here on the website. So, eat. One of the most basic human survival needs is that of eating, and amongst other benefits. The impact of a healthy diet on improved sleep patterns is well documented. For many children in our wealthy Western society, eating is one of life's pleasures, whereas for those living in extreme conditions where poverty and food scarcity are the norm, it is a constant source of anxiety. Children living in the most deprived areas in many Western countries are also particularly prone to the results of poor nutrition in terms of their overall outcomes and life chances. The burden is falling hardest on those children from low income backgrounds. Obesity rates are highest for children from the most deprived areas, and this is getting worse. Children age 5 and from the poorest income groups are twice as likely to be obese compared to their most well off counterparts. That's from Childhood Obesity, a Plan for Action at government.uk. Worryingly, for children in countries where food is plentiful and in some where it is more than plentiful, the very act of food consumption is itself the cause of major health issues for children. Issues that create a legacy that persists throughout adulthood and results uh, basically in lifelong difficulties. Mm, So, in of itself, it is frightening. What seems to be less newsworthy is the adverse impact of a poor or restricted diet on children's learning capacity and behavior. What is the effect of sugary breakfast cereals on learning? What about no breakfast at all? Why, even in the most nutrition aware schools and settings, do children experience the same post lunch slump that causes adults to refer to it as the graveyard slot? What do parents understand about the connection between nutrition and learning capacity, and how to navigate the minefield of advertisements for clever milk and vitamin water and other food marking strategies? So they explore that in another article. So, yeah, I mean, it just keeps coming back to that idea of balance again. And you want to figure out, well, if my child is underweight, or if you yourself are underweight, what getting to the root of that in the most loving and compassionate way possible. Um, Seeking professional help if you think that that's something that you would benefit from as well. Because the extra support and guidance is huge. Otherwise it's like you're just fumbling in the dark. It's really difficult. So one of the techniques, and I've used this with children too, that I learned, because sometimes when you experience severe trauma, especially in early childhood, there's a numbing and that splitting, and that joy and pleasure for food is gone. Like sometimes you will binge eat and it'll be like, yummy pizza, right? But most of the time you're just like, it's so difficult to just eat, and you're just like, oh, this is such a chore, and I don't know why this is so hard, and everybody else around me is just eating like normal, and you're just like, uh I think I'm full, I'm not full, I don't know, I'm not connected to my stomach, I feel it, I don't feel it, sometimes I feel hungry, sometimes I don't know, it's all over the place, right? So that could be possible from a child's perspective who is, under eating. And so one thing that helped was, you could change the words to make it more basic and easy for children depending on their age. But even just every bite, I love and nourish myself. This would go for underweight or overweight because it brings that mindfulness practice. So I love and nourish myself. I love and nourish myself. So the more they say it to themselves in their mind or even out loud, I love and nourish myself. I mean, next thing you know, your bowl is empty. You're like, how did that happen? Because you're just simply putting your focus and attention on something else. And you're doing it in a very constructive and positive and self-healing, self-loving way as much as you can. Everything carries a frequency, right? Everything is energy. So I love and nourish myself is also logic, right? So you're being mindful of what you're eating and what you're nourishing yourself with, right? So it's not about judgment and like, oh my gosh, I ate another McDonald's fries or whatever. It's like, no, eat those fries and say the saying. Don't judge yourself in that way, because it's just a losing battle. And the more you do that, the more you say, oh, maybe I'll try French fries or chips from this other place, that makes it more in a healthy way or whatever. So little by little, you might start making different choices, just simply by saying, I love and nourish myself with every single bite. And that's just one idea, but there's many other ways to do mindful eating. Um, you know, with children, another one that really helps is playing with their food. So they're not actually playing with their food, but they're making like a design first. So, you know, we have, let's say, like a rice dish with something else, rice and stew or rice and dal or whatever. I'm going to make an apple pie out of it, and I'm going to cut it into slices. So like they're literally doing that, and they're making the shapes. Or I'm going to make a flour out of this, nuggets or whatever they're eating. And then I'm going to eat one petal at a time, and yum, yum, yum. Ooh, I'm eating the petal of the flower. So it's literally whatever will help them get that ball rolling of getting that nourishment in them. Or if they're eating something with different colors, I'm going to eat the green ones first. Now I'm going to eat the red beets or whatever purple color they are. So going by color, let me count how many pieces of lettuce there are, and I'm going to eat those. So there's so many little ways to break it down, make it more playful, and the idea is compassion. So I have a difficulty with food in some way. Either I'm overeating or I'm undereating, but somewhere inside there's a connection that is lost or broken, or wires are crossed or something, right? So, you know, or a numbness or something. So these are just some ideas, and then you can roll with it and seek professional help with it, and go on the internet and find out more information about it if that's something you're called to. Because I know from experience, this is an area that many, many people have struggled with and do struggle with. And if you have a severe eating condition, please do seek medical help. There's so much resources available. Um, so let's see. That was eating and sleep. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, without a doubt, another area. Da, 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 da. Hmm, it's all about sleep. I think so. Let me just check. I think so. I just set my timer, so I'll wrap up Maslow's video soon. So let's see. Adult guidance and direction has declined greatly in recent times, yet we know that free play and exploration are the means by which children learn to control their lives, develop their own interests, regulate their own impulses, interact socially and solve problems, and ultimately become competent in pursuit of their own interests. So this is about play, my favorite topic ever. Yeah, so Maslow also goes into play, so you can see why I'm drawn to this theorist. So he goes, more about his research from this website, same website. Effective play is activity controlled and directed by the player, and thereby focused toward intrinsic rather than extrinsic goals. By depriving children of opportunities to play on their own without constant direction and interference from adults, we are depriving them from the very opportunities that teach them how to manage and control their lives. Can I get an amen? We may think that we are providing the best direction and guidance, yet the fact is that we are probably diminishing their joy, limiting their sense of impulse control and regulation, preventing them from discovering and exploring new things, narrowing options to build and test out relationship with peers, reducing safe risk taking as well. So, not to put you down or anything, but it's really important to, again, do that, try to floor play where they get to take the lead, and different opportunities where they get to make choices and feel that sense of autonomy and independence and all that really good juice. I mean, you have to come in strong with when you're taking over their play, what are the negative effects? Just like they listed in this great website. Sometimes you need that tough love. You need to hear that if you're working with children. It's a really important reminder. So learning and what learning means. In the earliest years, is one of the most contentious and contested themes of early childhood pedagogical debate. You got that right. How, why, where, what, with whom, and when children learn best tests the minds of great international educators and the minds of Hema. I mean, the mind of Hema? All right, anyway. As our article on Play will note, it is often adults who intend to drive the learning, and in some cases, it's clear that some pedagogical thinkers have heard small children described, but I've never actually seen any in action. That one was shocking for me. I was like, what? They didn't actually work with the kids? Okay. The children, by their naturally curious and creative approach to life, hold the key to learning about the theory of everything. Fired by their own agendas and insatiable passions and interests, they are STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths driven learners from birth. That's cool. In capital STEAM. I'll say that again. Fired by their own agendas, children have insatiable passions and interests. They are STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths driven learners from birth. What? For teachers, the quantum leap between one theory and another, and the constant pressure to move children on to the next step as quickly as possible so as to be ready, restricts both adult and child in the freedom of learning and prevents the privilege and sheer joy of observing children at play and following their authentic next steps. We know through current research that in neuroscience, that holistic learning produces lasting outcomes. Learning is a social activity. Children learn through all their senses, yet we tend to focus on only two. Children's tinkering during self initiated play indicates deeper thought processes. Still, we question the compelling evidence before us. This is what I'm up against sometimes, and it's like, but I've done this over and over and over and over, so I don't ever compare myself to parents or other people. Like, they have their own set of skills. They've known this individual baby from when they were little baby, fitting in their one or two hands. um, Parents are the experts of their own child. They know them better than anyone. I just have the experience of trying certain things out thousands of times in early childcare. So that's been fun for me. So I have my own, bag of tricks or whatever you want to call it, or my own skill set. And it's much easier for me now. And I think my role has more than anything become modeling. I'm never going to have the perfect answer or anything like that, but I will come to the table with a whole bunch of solutions and a whole bunch of things to try that have worked in the past, that have produced positive and successful results. So it's more about being in the moment, being in touch with myself, and just it automatically clicks for me. So even if I imagine what the situation is and put myself in your shoes and what difficulties you're dealing with that child, it's much easier for me to be like, okay, I would do this, or I would try this and this, or I would tinker and try, and then come back and talk to me about it. How's it working? So that's kind of my approach these days in my style, because I've done it so many times. So it's so much easier for me. Even my own family are like, how are you so good at this? How do you already know how to do that? I'm like, I've done it over and over and over. And even before I worked in early childcare, patience is one of my gifts, you could say. I'm just naturally in tune with patience and doing things over and over. So they go hand in hand. You need a fountain of patience with children, and you need to be have made peace with repetition, basically. And it's fun for me too. So that's a huge motivator. So I'm gonna wrap this up, and next we're gonna do B.F. Skinner. So they also go over another article that will help confirm the fundamentally stage appropriate learning supported by emotionally literate adults more than prepares children to be lifelong learners. So I love that they end that article with that. That's amazing. I'm all about lifelong learning. That's where it's at for me. So I hope that helps. Thank you. Signing off, and I wish you well. That's it for this video for today.